your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never
does.
They
played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas.
It wasn't that he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
I told you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a tape that is incorrect.
The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play.
He's not so. There were 2 perfectly rated quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Hello and welcome to a Friday Live right here on the Early Line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Right Side. I am Ben Stevens. We are here together for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time, bright and early on a Friday morning to set the stage for a wonderful and monumental weekend in the sports landscape. There is so much going on this Friday night in Madison Square Garden. It is game number 6 and a potential series clinching spot for the New York Knicks at home in the world's most famous arena against the reigning NBA champs in the Celtics. Courtesy of a Denver win at altitude last night, there will be a game 7 in the Western Conference semis on Sunday afternoon. We've got MLB rivalry weekend coming our way over this weekend. And oh yeah, the second major in golf underway, the PGA Championship, and it's Friday already beginning in Charlotte, North Carolina. The second leg of a Triple Crown, albeit not a Triple Crown winner this year in 2025. The Preakness Stakes tomorrow evening, and the WNBA season begins on this Friday with a huge Saturday slate and marquee matchups as well. That's just a little sample, DRS, of all we have to break down over these 3 hours.
Oh, it's a lot, and it's a lot of good stuff, which is key. And tonight in the Garden, it is going to be mayhem out there with the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. A nice low line at the FanDuel Sportsbook, 2.5. But something that just brings a tear to my eye. Like, again, Ben, like the world's coming together for the people because they listen to the commissioner, Donnie Right Side. Am I looking right now at Sunday afternoon, a 1 p.m. Game 7? Like, what world am I living in? Usually the NBA buries this at 11 o'clock at night and says, I don't want anybody to watch game number 7. You guys got work tomorrow. Don't watch this. 1 o'clock, we can all gather around the television. I'm seeing 1 o'clock, so what's up with that?
No.
Now, Trezo's telling me 3:30 in my ear. I mean, come on now. Now, also, could this be like if the game tonight, the Celtics and the Knicks, could we have 2 Game 7s on Sunday? Is that what I hear? It has to be, right? It won't be Monday, would it?
Oh, man.
You're
getting killed right
on.
now, man. You were trying to have such a great start to your Friday. Game 7 on Sunday in Oklahoma City, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Still in the afternoon, though, DRS. Not bad. 3:30 is better than 8 o'clock.
Lifting up the spirit. Right. But see, I was starting to build for that crescendo, going like, are we going to get a 1 o'clock and like a 4 o'clock Sunday game number 7 for 2? Of course we can't have that. But Monday night, if it goes back to TD Bank Garden, mayhem all the way. But also, I am looking for a Game 7 Sunday, which, again, not 1 o'clock, 3:30. I'm fine with that. Everybody can watch. I guess the only people angry would be the PGA Championship, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so, but it can coincide, have multiple screens. You will need it in this large sports weekend because, as DRS said, the two best words in sports, Game 7. That's what we'll have on Sunday after a Nuggets win in Game 6 on a Thursday night at altitude in Denver. The Nugs taking advantage of that playoff pedigree and home court advantage over OKC to keep its season afloat and extend this series to a sixth game. 119-107. Denver wins outright as a 5-point home underdog to force a Game 7 back in Oklahoma City on Sunday afternoon at 3:30.
Step it up, people. That's what you needed to do. The B-level guys. Christian Brown last night on his home court, 8 of 14 from the floor, 23 points. Jamal Murray couldn't even make it to shoot around, and yet still played 42 minutes and had 25 points in this game. And then the Joker, 29 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. Loved what I saw. And by the way, game was slipping away late in that first half for the Denver Nuggets. They closed strong. Lou Dort hits that triple at the buzzer to give them the 3-point lead, but the momentum was there for the Nuggets, and they handled their business in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, and we got ourselves a game number 7. The heart of a champion, Ben, rising to the occasion. Who doesn't love a Game 7? Woo, boy. Yeah.
Donnie, to your point, the Thunder had a lead of 8 late in that opening half and led by 3 at the break, but it was all Denver in the second half. They won the third quarter by 13 points, extended that lead, and held off the Thunder in the fourth quarter as well. The Nuggets win outright. Denver has covered in 5 of the 6 games in this series, forcing a decisive and winner-take-all Game 7 on Sunday afternoon. The Thunder, a 7.5-point home favorite in Game 7. OKC had been at least a double-digit favorite in all 3 previous games in Oklahoma City. Plenty more around that series in just a little bit. The PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Our big guns out early yesterday. Nobody all that great. Scotty Scheffler, the best round of that large trio, featuring the Masters champ Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele, the reigning PGA champ, and the top 3 players in the world. The big guns struggling, DRS. So our round 1 leader, Johnny Vegas, at 7 under par, firing an opening round 64.
Yeah, you can go right at those greens yesterday and those pins because of those damp conditions from the earlier rains during the week. You know that golf course is going to dry out. It's going to get tougher. But also understand this. Scotty Scheffler upset yesterday that they weren't able to clean and place balls in certain situations here. Said a lot of mud was on the golf ball, and that played into it. And you're right. If you scroll down that leaderboard, it takes you a while to get really recognizable names. But something tells me that's going to change because in major championships, the toughness of these golf courses that can make or break anybody, Ben, they'll rise to the occasion. Let's go.
DRS, nobody in the top 10 of the world rankings inside the top 10 of the leaderboard right now. We'll continue to update where the odds stand at this moment. Scotty Scheffler, 2 under on his Thursday opening round, still remains the favorites. A big report yesterday from ESPN's Seth Wickersham. As a part of his book detailing the American quarterback, he had an excerpt on Caleb Williams and how Williams, in conversations with his father, Carl, during last year's draft process, was trying to find ways around heading to Chicago before meeting with the Bears organization. It was a report and a bombshell that tried to paint Caleb Williams as the bad guy. In fact, I think it made Caleb Williams look even better because he knew that Matt Eberflus was a doofus and Shane Waldron should not coach in the National Football League.
Yeah, exactly. I know we're looking like, look at the Bears, laugh at the organization. No, like if I'm a quarterback coming out, like I got Matt Eberflus, I'm going to Chicago, notoriously bad for the next couple of years. How am I going to get developed? I'm looking out for my future. Like you can't blame the guy. And then you hear the other stories out there like, hey, like I would go turn on the television and watch film and nobody helped me out here. Exactly what we thought from Matt Eberflus as a defensive coordinator, as your head coach. They made the right move in the offseason. Caleb's in good hands now. This was no bombshell. This shows me that the quarterback actually has a good head on his shoulders. How about that?
3,541 yards for Williams in his rookie year, 5th most in Bears history. And it was a struggle of a season. The Carolina Hurricanes go into the nation's capital and handle the Caps, winning in a gentleman's sweep in 5 games to advance once again to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck standing tall, blanking the Dallas Stars to extend the series. Dallas still heads back home for Game 6, up 3-2.
Yeah, don't let Hellebuck get hot there, man. You have a hot goalie standing on his head in the playoffs. That can carry you through a couple rounds. They still need a lot more help, but you got to start somewhere with a victory like they had last night.
A 4-zip win for the Jets, a 4-zip win for the Twins in Baltimore to sweep the O's and win their 11th consecutive game.
Yeah, that losing streak is going to start soon for them because, as you see in the notes there, Ben, Buxton and Correa on the same play collided into each other. Concussion protocol, is that going to wipe them both out for a week? That's terrible, man. When you're streaking, you want your best players out there. Looks like they might be sat down for a little bit.
Tough news for the Twins, but the longest win streak we have seen this year continues in MLB, now at 11 straight. The Dodgers plate 19 runs. Shohei Ohtani goes deep twice, has 6 RBIs. The Dodgers win the rubber match against the Athletics 19-2.
I would love to do a Dodgers play-by-play with an Ohtani home run, but the powers that be tell me I can't do that. So it was an exciting game. We cashed in tickets. It was a great late-night action game. So there you go.
Just cheering RBI prop plays.
Yeah,
NFL players might be allowed to play flag football in 2028 in the Olympics.
Come on, we need more on that topic.
Ongoing.
We need more.
More on the early line action.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
You know, Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. You know, they've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Derek Carr has called it a career after 11 NFL seasons.
I think they knew before the draft that they had to make a move at this point. And by the way, Derek Carr did have a pretty good career. Made as many Pro Bowls as Eli Manning. So based on that, he should go to the Hall of Fame like Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning does have a couple rings at that point, but always wanted to take a shot at Manning, who should not actually be in the Hall of Fame. Shouldn't be questioned an under 500 quarterback for his career. Stop the man.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two really good words in sports. Game 6, leading to the two best words in sports. Game 7. Last night at altitude in Denver, the Nuggets, with their season on the brink, back home, trying to hold off the Oklahoma City Thunder from appearing in the Western Conference Finals, just one win away from heading back to the conference finals round for the first time since 2016. And the odds makers, DRS, thought Oklahoma City would do that even away from home. A 5-point favorite as we got ready for game number 6 and a total at 216. However, most of the public, nearly 70% of the bets on the spread backing the home underdog, had the last laugh as Denver, as the dog, wins outright by double digits, 119-107 as that 5-point home dog, and a total of 216 slightly pushes to the over. Denver keeps this series and its season alive with a double-digit win on its home floor in game number 6.
Only one game got real wacky. That was game number 2, where the Denver Nuggets, just off that adrenaline from game number 1, just ran out of gas. But ever since, back and forth, it's been entertainment. It's been superstar going after superstar. It's been SGA saying I can't score more than 34 points, doing that again last night. It's Nikola Jokic saying, okay, some of my assist numbers are down, but I'm still going to crank up the points here. I'm still going to get the rebounds. And also Jamal Murray having one of those flu games where it almost ruined it, Ben. Like, you saw the reports coming out before the game, like, hey, he's got an illness, which again happens. You're human. You never can't pick and choose when you get sickness. But then he wouldn't come out for warm-ups. It's like, is he even going to be able to play? And that's going to ruin the atmosphere tonight. And Oklahoma City is going to walk into the Western Conference Finals. And he was great. He gave everything he could possibly give. 42 minutes, man. Leaving it out there on your home court in an elimination game to advance into game number 7. Now, the question is going to be, is that sickness going to linger? And did he run out of gas last night? And now he's just playing on fumes for game number 7. That'll be food for discussion a little bit later. But I was so impressed with the Denver Nuggets when, again, Ben, it was starting to go off the rails where Oklahoma City was the better basketball team in the second quarter, looking to go up double digits at the break and really break the spirit of the Denver Nuggets. And that didn't happen. They closed on a late run. They took control in the second half, as you should at altitude. They played great basketball all the way through. Christian Brown stepping up in big moments just to give his team a lift. I loved what I saw out of the Nuggets. But are we really surprised? Like, was this supposed to be a gentleman's sweep or a sweep for the Denver Nuggets with all of that talent? And understand this, too. Hey, man, maybe the Denver front office here made the right moves, firing your head coach, firing the general manager, and they're a game away from the Western Conference Finals? Impressive.
Interim head man David Adelman, the son of Rick Adelman, longtime and successful head coach in the NBA, getting his chance to shine. And they have looked pretty good. Denver has been inspired here, forcing a second consecutive series to a 7th game. Donnie, I don't think we should be surprised. The best basketball player on planet Earth resides with the Nuggets. His name is Nikola Jokic. But this is shocking, considering what the odds makers expected throughout this series before it tipped, where things stood after OKC even trailed by a game, trailed 2-1 after 3 in overtime. All of that taken into the equation, we were not expecting 7 games from the odds perspective, despite what we are seeing with our very own 2 eyes and how competitive and tightly contested this series was. Game number 6 last night in Denver, just our second game in this set, decided by double digits, and it didn't really feel like an overwhelming landslide for the Nuggets last night. However, Denver, at least as a cover team, has been the better side throughout this second round series. They have now covered in 5 of the 6 games, booked as an underdog in every one. Last night's spread of 5 was the shortest number in favor of the Thunder in this series so far. And DRS, you mentioned it in our breakdown of this game yesterday, that if we looked at the final score on a Friday morning and Denver was victorious, Jamal Murray played a big part in that. But again, the reports that he was battling an illness, his points prop when we spoke yesterday on TEL, 21.5, had dropped to 19.5, and hefty juice on the under because he was going to have to battle through a sick game. He is 25 points, a huge reason that Denver was victorious last night. And when you're going to get a 29-point, 14-rebound double-double out of Nikola Jokic, that will always be successful. And for the first time in this series, DRS, the Joker goes over his assist prop set last night at 7.5, finishing with 8 dimes. Not quite a triple-double, but a really stout performance out of the 3-time MVP.
Yeah, big night overall there. And you take a look at Jamal Murray, like not only the 25 points and the 8 rebounds and the 7 assists, but how about a plus 28 on the court, which meant he was playing his butt off on defense as well, which is impressive to think that he couldn't even come out and warm up for the game, gets in there cold and wreaks havoc right off the bat. I love to see that here. That's a sign of certainly a championship team. Even if you weren't getting the best performances all the way around, we wanted Michael Porter Jr. to step up. Only 10 points didn't matter. How about Aaron Gordon, 38 minutes and only 5 points in that game? You needed other guys to step up. How about Strother off the bench, 20 minutes and 15 points. Russell Westbrook, only 17 minutes, but gave you 8 points, just missed. The over 3.5 and a plus money rebounds. Needed one more board from him. I expect him to play a little bit more. And then also Watson, 14 minutes and 4 points. Everybody was chipping in, and a big game performance for game number 6 for the Nuggets. Both starters and bench guys loved it, man. That's why we're getting to game 7.
DRS, you mentioned Michael Porter Jr. clearly battling
Yeah.
through that AC sprain in his shoulder. To get to 10 points was basically his points prop last night, minus 122.
Yeah.
I know because I bet it, because when Michael Porter Jr. in this playoff run has reached double figures, Denver is now 5-1 straight up. It doesn't have to be 20. Double figures helps. How about Julian Strother off the bench out of Gonzaga? 3 made triples last night, provided a big spark. And we showed you that dynamic duo for Denver. Nikola Jokic, 29. Jamal Murray, 25. Who is that dynamic duo in comparison of the MVPs? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, death, taxes, around a 30-point performance, finishing with 32, the game's leading scorer. But, Donnie, that second-best guy, more than likely for OKC, is either Chet Holmgren, he was okay, 19 points or 11 boards, or Jalen Williams, atrocious in a potential closeout spot last night. 6 points on 3 of 16 shooting from the floor.
Yeah, not good enough there. But also, when you're taking a look at the non-superstar players, they tend to struggle with games on the road. I look for a big bounce-back performance for Williams once they get home. And we're set up for an awesome, awesome game number 7 this weekend.
Game 7 on Sunday afternoon in Oklahoma City. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time tip. Let's talk about it and take an early look next.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding it's a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Derek Carr has called it a career after 11 NFL seasons.
I think they knew before the draft that they had to make a move at this point. And by the way, Derek Carr did have a pretty good career, made as many Pro Bowls as Eli Manning. So based on that, he should go to the Hall of Fame like Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning does have a couple rings at that point, but always wanted to take a shot at Manning, who should not actually be in the Hall of Fame. Shouldn't be questioned, an under 500 quarterback for his career. Stop the man.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You'll hear it often in description of Sunday's game in Oklahoma City between the Thunder and the Nuggets. The two best words in sports, Game 7. We have a spot between a championship team, the Nuggets, who won an NBA title just 2 seasons ago, and an Oklahoma City team that this young core trying to reach a stage they have not yet. That would be the Western Conference Finals. All the stakes and everything on the line for Sunday. DRS, we don't need series odds anymore. We have reached the distance. We only need a series spread and basically a series money line. We'll look at the total as well. Minus 295. That's the price for the Thunder to win this second round series and advance to the Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City, just a 7 7.5-point favorite at home in game number 7. Why is that critical? Oklahoma City, in the 3 previous home games for the Thunder in this series, have been at least a double-digit favorite. Now it's only 7.5.
Yeah, and that tells you a lot right there, because anything can happen in a game number 7. And that's what we love about basketball. And also, this isn't just any time. Like, OKC is not like, Ben, we've been here time and time again in game 7s. You see these 2 rings we have from the past 4 years? We're used to this. They're not. This is a high-leverage situation. They're the number 1 seed, yes, but what did they do in round number 1? I'm not knocking them. They had an absolute sweep against Memphis Grizzlies. That's what you're supposed to do. But that wasn't like, okay, we already had a 7-game series in round number 1. We're used to the pressure. And now you're coming into a game number 7 with a team that just a few years ago won an NBA championship with maybe the best player in the world. Do you think the Denver Nuggets, like, all right, house money at this point, didn't think we'd get this far? No, they expected to get this far. That's why they fired their coach and their general manager, because the expectations weren't holding up to the results that they thought they were supposed to get from 2024 to 2025. And now you find themselves in a game 7. Is anybody loving to bet OKC at 7.5 points in a game number 7 against Denver? Now, granted, Ben, we talked about game number 2, which was a home game, which was a blowout for OKC. I'm not envisioning that. Games get tighter. Things get more tense. Every single possession matters at this point. Now the only thing I'm going to watch to see is the health status of Jamal Murray and how much rest he's going to get. Because keep in mind, yesterday, Ben, was a Thursday. Typically, you would play on a Saturday, right? So now we're taking a look at another extension of a game till Sunday. That helps out the Denver Nuggets to be more rested, more ready, and more prepared in that game. I love where we're going here on a Sunday afternoon. It's fantastic that we get to talk about it here on a Friday.
DRS, no doubt about it. This is the only time in this series we have seen 2 days of rest in between games. It has been a sprint, which is tough for a Denver team that has logged a lot of miles so far already in this postseason. Second consecutive set for the Nugs that has gone the distance, reaching a 7th game. How about this stat, courtesy of one of my best friends, Ben Visveri, who is a diehard Denver Nuggets fan and has been for the entirety of his life. DRS, since the 2019 postseason, this is the 3rd time for the Nuggets. They have started their playoff run with a 7th game in each their first and second round series. Again, 3 times since 2019, their first 2 series have gone the distance to 7 games. No other team in the NBA has done that once since 2019. So in terms of experience in these situations, the Nuggets have it. Of course, you could point to last year in a similar spot, second round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Nuggets at home at altitude, after taking a 3-2 series lead, got drubbed in Game 6 by 45 in the Twin Cities, hosted the Ant-Man and Minnesota, led by 20 in the second half, only to see it evaporate in Game 7. The T-Wolves won, advancing to the Western Conference Finals. But there's no doubt, DRS, a 7.5-point spread in this spot. You asked who was running to the window to cash a ticket on OKC. The answer is not many people. 85% of the early volume of bets backing the road underdog. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets on that spread, catching 7.5 points.
Exactly. Like, I'm looking at this game as a toss-up. Like, I understand the 7.5 points and why it's there, because the algorithms support that, and you play all season long to get this game in your building. But this has been a competitive series outside of game number 2. And again, the anomaly was, I didn't think Denver would win game number 1, but that adrenaline from coming off your previous series here rolling over, and then you just were out of gas in game number 2. But games 3, games 4, games 5, and game 6, all unbelievably competitive there, and a lot of fun to watch you play out. So I look at the 7.5 right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook and say, I understand why the betting public is saying, if I flip a coin and get a touchdown in an NBA game in a game number 7, I'm going to go that direction.
And let's not forget, the Thunder, the best record in the NBA throughout the regular season. Also, the association's best cover team, the only team that covered in more than 65% of their games. They've only covered once in their last 8 games here in the playoffs since game 2 of their opening round against Memphis. Plenty more around the association next.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon.
That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times, but screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never
They
does.
played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn
they've ever
Ewers.
got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian
Why
made
would it be
very
Quinn
clear
Ewers'
the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick,
Quinn
Arch
Ewers'
Manning is
team.
not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong.
I
It
just
is
told
incorrect.
you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm
you're
buying
doing
him
your
because
thing now
I
where you
expect him to
double
have
down on a
decent
take
season. No, I'm
that
not
is
doing that.
incorrect
The
when I
best
show it's
quarterback
incorrect.
prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not
a
so.
7th-round
There were
pick
two
who didn't even
perfectly
play
rated
good.
quarterback
Stop
recruits
it.
in the history
Stop
of
it.
the sport.
Quinn
Vince
Ewers couldn't
Young
even play at
and
Ohio
Quinn
State.
Ewers.
He couldn't even play at
Vince
Ohio
Young and
State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
A Game 7 on Sunday afternoon in Oklahoma City. The Thunder, an early 7.5-point favorite against the Denver Nuggets. OKC looking to advance to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2016. Basically, none of the guys on this year's roster were there then. That was the final year of Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, who now plays for Denver. Meanwhile, the Nuggets, who won a Larry O'Brien trophy just 2 seasons ago, looking to get back to the conference finals for a 3rd time in the last 6 seasons. But this time with an interim head coach in David Adelman. Again, DRS, when you look at the spread for Sunday, 85% of the early bets backing the Nuggets as the road underdog to keep this game tight. Last night, we had our lowest total in this series at 213, or 216 rather, and it skied over with 226 combined points. We have had 3 games to the over, 3 games to the under. This our lowest total in Game 7 of this set so far. Why? Because it is a Game 7. And we expect both players on either side, both teams on either side, to scratch and claw for every point that could be the difference advancing to the Western Conference Finals.
Exactly. And your first intuition typically is the right one. But as a handicapper, when you watch some of these lines come out, and again, the algorithms that they use, most people, and you're explaining correctly, Ben, 85 out of every 100 tickets already coming in on the Denver Nuggets because you're like, that's way too many points. But understand this. A sharp mind reads that and goes, they want you to take the Denver Nuggets at 7.5 because it looks like an egregious line. Otherwise, it opened up at 7.5 last night, Ben, and we wake up this morning and do the early line. It's like, okay, it's down to 2.5 because everybody's betting the Nuggets. There's a reason why it opened up at 7.5, taking all those tickets and still sitting at 7.5 here. So from my analytical mind, I go, you actually should be taking the Thunder. But again, that doesn't always win. Case in point, the Indiana game we talked about, and then again, the Knicks game that we talked about in the Boston Celtics, which actually worked out, a couple days ago, which worked out like in the favor. So from my money, moving
last
forward,
night as well, but
last night it wasn't as tricky, though. It wasn't like, ooh, that is a crazy line. But the line still pointed towards Oklahoma City last night. Don't get me wrong. But those lightning rod games, like, this is way too many points. And we even saw that in game number 2, Ben, of this series, where it's 11.5 as a favorite for OKC, with people going like, take the Nuggets all night long. And yet again, they got blown out in that game. So it's not a foolproof strategy. But being around the block so many times, you should actually be taking the Thunder. But again, multiple times this playoff series, I've already said, you know what? I should be taking the 7.5. I can't do it. Like game number 7, coin flip for me. Just give me the 7.5. I'll ride with the public.
There is a 2.5-point discrepancy at bare minimum between this spread for game number 7 with the Thunder at home in the previous 3 we have seen, where OKC has been a double-digit favorite. Outside of the game 2 route, a 43-point win for Oklahoma City. The Thunder have not covered in this series. The Thunder have not covered since game number 2 in their opening round set against the Memphis Grizzlies. So DRS is correct in the analytical and handicapping approach. You should be running to the window to back OKC. Game 7, a different scenario. And maybe the odds makers and their power ratings have just been slightly flawed here. And DRS, I didn't mean to interrupt, but nearly 70% of the bets last night were backing the home underdog in the Nuggets. And the line worked by a hook up to OKC, laying 5 on the road. Turns out that nearly 70% of the public in the volume of bets had it right and cashed a ticket. And let us not forget, the Thunder entering Game 6 last night were a minus 1,500 favorite to win this series outright, with the anticipation they were a 5-point road favorite. Or okay, maybe if Denver showed its championship resolve on its home floor, no big deal. The Thunder would waltz into Game 7 back at home and win. Donnie, minus 1,500 outright is now minus 290 outright, which is the price for the Thunder on that money line. In OKC entering yesterday, minus 270 to win the West. That number has dropped drastically, minus 155. Minnesota, a beneficiary here, only playing 10 games so far in this playoff run. They'll get some rest as they await the winner of either the Nuggets or the Thunder. If it's Denver, who's had to battle in 2 7-game series to start off its playoff run, tricky. OKC expending a lot of energy to advance to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in nearly a decade. Those odds have shifted drastically as well.
Yeah, and also you take a look at the Western Conference there at the 5-1 price on the Nuggets. Understand this. If they pull off this upset here of round number 2 against OKC, all right, well, they're going to take on the Timberwolves. Yes, the Timberwolves are a very good team. They made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. But you see the seeding, the Denver Nuggets 4, Minnesota Timberwolves 6. That means home court advantage in elevation, which is absolutely massive. So I don't mind people taking a little chunk out of the Denver Nuggets, because if they get by this series, they're probably going to be favored in the next series because they have home court advantage over the Timberwolves.
Producer extraordinaire Joe Frizo, do you agree? A series outright handicapper, would Denver even be an ever so slight favorite against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals? Frizo says yes. I agree as well. DRS, not just a change in the Western Conference odds, where OKC was nearing a $3 minus money price to win the Western Conference crown, but also in the NBA championship odds, where yesterday, because of some of the carnage in the East, and OKC expected to win comfortably against Denver, they were minus 140 to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Still the favorites, but plus money today at plus 110. So a lot of value out there around those NBA championship odds as well.
You know, and again, the Nuggets at a plus 950 price. We just told you about that 5-1 price to win the West. I actually would take them to win the championship at plus 950. They get by OKC. They're the favorite to beat Minnesota, and we're probably not going to get, obviously, the Cavaliers. They're already eliminated. We probably won't even be getting the Boston Celtics. That is a great price on the Nuggets. But before you can enjoy that price, they still have to go on the road as a 7.5-point underdog into game number 7 against a better team and win. So let's not get overexcited, but that's why they're a plus 950. Big hurdle in game number 7. They clear that hurdle. Watch out now.
Listen, if you believe in the Nuggets, if you believe in Nikola Jokic, if you believe in Jamal Murray stepping up in these spots, a lot of plus money is out there on the Nugs. Plus 240 money line price to win outright in game 7 as those underdogs, and then all of the plus money that you have to win the West, and of course an NBA championship at this moment. Co-favorites in the Eastern Conference ahead of maybe the Knicks' biggest game inside Madison Square Garden in 2.5 decades. The Knicks and the Pacers plus 125 to win the East. The Celtics back by over $3 at plus 430. Indiana already on to their second consecutive Eastern Conference Finals, where they await the winner of this monumental second-round series. Of course, no Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics, but the C's showed that resolve in game number 5, routing New York by 25 inside TD Garden. now to take a trip to New York City on this Friday night. A 2.5-point spread, DRS, in favor of the Knicks inside the world's most famous arena in game number 6. Here is what is at stake. New York wins tonight at home in MSG. The Knickerbockers are in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000, 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, and that's a lot of ghosts there hanging up in those rafters that want to see a championship. Now, the fun thing about this going to be is that crowd, the electricity early in that game. I do kind of want to see Boston bomb away from the three-point line. Like, give me a 6 of 7 to start the game from 3, just to get the panic into the arena. That's what we need to see. But also, from those price points there, the 2.5 makes a lot of sense. I do think the Knicks win this game. We'll get into that a little bit later. The 210, kind of an interesting number, but just the overall odds in the Eastern Conference. Yes, the Pacers only a plus 125 because they're already there. But understand, as we just talked about the Nuggets, like if the Knicks do win this series over the Celtics, they have home court advantage over the Indiana Pacers. That should be a fun series to watch it play out. But there's your price points there. The Celtics at plus 430. You can put that at plus $2 million. I'm not taking the Boston Celtics.
Over in 2 straight games, so the total working its way up for this decisive game 6, now standing at 211. This will also be the first time in this second round set so far the Knicks have been booked as a favorite, an underdog in the previous 5 games. This will be the 4th time all year, or 5th time all year rather, the Celtics have even been booked as an underdog. Plenty more on Game 6 at Madison Square Garden later. MLB next.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times, but screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's recap a short Thursday slate around Major League Baseball for you here on this Friday, setting the stage for rivalry weekend in the Big. Some interesting rivalries and some that actually check out. DRS only 6 games on a Thursday, where the hottest team in baseball actively and frankly all year continues to stack up wins, but with some very good, some pretty bad yesterday for Minnesota on the road and Baltimore as well. The Twins sweep the O's, blanking Baltimore yesterday, winning 4-0. But as we mentioned, a collision between Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa, putting both of their star status very much up in the air. We'll start with the good. Minnesota has won 11 consecutive games, DRS, our longest active win streak in Major League Baseball, our longest overall win streak continuously this year in the Bigs as well. The Twins were the first team to win 10 consecutive games, now tack on another victory at 11.
Yeah, by the way, Chris Paddock, one of the higher XFIP guys on that short card yesterday, was sensational. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, only 3 strikeouts. That's why the XFIP is high. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go 7 innings, only have 3 Ks, and absolutely dominate your opponent. But something is just wrong with the Baltimore Orioles at the plate. You talked about yesterday, like what needs to change for the Orioles? Well, they do have to pitch better, and if you're giving up 4 runs, that's not great for Sugano. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, but you still should be competitive and be in the ballgame, not shut out against Chris Paddock. That offense better wake up and wake up soon, because this season is slipping away for them right now. But credit the Twins. Keep on riding out that hot streak, 24-20 now.
15-27 DRS for the Baltimore Orioles. Again, the team that was expected to be the toughest test for the Yankees, not just in the division in the AL East, but the entirety of the American League. The O's had the second best price entering this season to win the AL pennant. How quickly the tide can change after only 42 games. 15-27. Minnesota continues to push its way above 500. How about 19 runs scored last night by the LA Dodgers at the Ravine, taking the rubber match against the A's 19-2. Shohei Ohtani, a huge night at the dish, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs to lead LA.
Yeah, everybody in that starting lineup was absolutely smashing the baseball. As he said, 6 RBI night, 2 home runs there for Shohei Ohtani. Mookie Betts getting involved as well with an RBI. You take a look at Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Andy Pages. Everything was working in order. I guess they were upset from the game 1 of the series where they got embarrassed by the Athletics, but they just turned around and did the embarrassing after that. 19 runs. Look at that. 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 7 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Good night, Irene, man. What a blowout for the Dodgers. They got power. And Bido, by the way, was the worst pitcher on the card yesterday. Lived up to that. An inning and 2/3, 6 earned. Get him out of there.
And in the battle of the Max Muncies, as we learned yesterday, the younger Max Muncy who plays for the A's, the veteran for the Dodgers, on the other side, a big night at the dish. 3 of 4 at the plate with a home run and 4 RBIs. Did you say Sundom?
It's his son. That's his son. Yeah, he played against his son, like LeBron James and Bronny James. Same thing. The Muncie's getting busy.
Don't get enough credit because the Griffies did it first, I guess. All right.
Sure.
Anyway, as we go elsewhere around Major League Baseball, Donnie, one of the games that we previewed on the docket yesterday, we expected to be a pitcher's duel. We expected to be a low-scoring affair in the in-state showdown between divisional rivals in the AL West, starting this weekend in Arlington, the extended 4-game set. The Astros visiting the Rangers. Jacob deGrom, sensational. Blanking Houston on the other side to pick up his 4th consecutive win. Hunter Brown, man, not bad for the Astros and continues a great year. 8 innings of work, 3 base knocks, 1 earned allowed, just because the worst pitch he made was a solo shot from Texas's Jake Berger. The only run of the game, the Rangers win 1-0.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you expected a pitcher's duel, which is what we got. I thought we had a slight edge there for the Houston Astros. I saw the clip yesterday from the early line, which was great. It was +1.5 they tweeted out for the Houston Astros. Cash that ticket, baby.
Come on
at
now.
that point here. But I thought the Houston Astros also would be able to win outright. And you're right, a 200 hitter, a solo home run, that was the difference in that ball game. 8 innings pitched for both pitchers here. Both of them were sensational. 1-0. The Rangers get the nod.
3 hits, 1 earned, 9 Ks for Hunter Brown. The ERA, 1.43. He records the loss, so now a 6-2 record. That's a bad beat. Jacob deGrom has won 4 consecutive outings. He is 4-1. Only 5 hits yesterday of shutout baseball with 7 Ks. deGrom, DRS, the veteran, still looking pretty good. A 2.29 ERA this season for Texas. That series continues with 3 more games on the slate this weekend in Arlington. The Braves win their 4-game midweek set against the Nats, taking 3 of 4. Atlanta now back to 500, 22-22, winning 8 of their last 12. The Rays and the Jays in a divisional rivalry, winning 8-3. And the Reds avoiding the sweep against the White Sox, winning the finale yesterday 7-1. I need my Cincinnati Reds to pick it up. We got to get on pace for at least 80 victories, DRS.
Yeah, as long as you go up against Bryce Wilson every single day, you should be able to knock the cover off the baseball, which the Reds did yesterday for 7 runs on 12 hits. But it was an interesting card yesterday. Sort of took a back seat. The only games that I had bets on late night were the Dodgers games that worked out in my favor. But, just looking at the Twins and the Orioles game, thought there'd be a little bit more runs in that game because Paddock was sensational. I didn't expect that. The Braves playing the Nationals. You're supposed to beat the Nationals. That's what you do. Good ball clubs here, handling ball clubs that aren't as good as them. That's what you do. But how about the Rays? 8-3 yesterday. Pounding Kevin Gausman in that game, and the Rays now 20-23. The Blue Jays still hovering around that 500 spot. So short card yesterday, full card today. We'll check some of those weather conditions, which I think are much better than what we were seeing previously early in the week. Should be a great Friday to have some fun and make some money tonight.
DRS, the American League East, pretty bad right now. The only team above 500, the only team with a non-losing record, the New York Yankees at 25-18. Of course, the Yanks have the best price to win the American League pennant. They have the second best number to win that World Series. A Subway Series, a part of rivalry weekend upcoming. The Dodgers, of course, your World Series favorites, still with a very short price. 29-15 after hammering the A's yesterday, matching the Detroit Tigers once again for the best record in baseball.
Yeah, Dodgers probably are overall the best team in baseball, but nobody's taking plus 250 in the month of May here. Just save your money, bet on day-to-day basis, maybe take a look at a long shot here. But baseball, so hard to predict with the futures because unlike the NFL, it's just how well are you playing September 15th and on. There's no bearing in the month of May. You don't want to ruin your season, but you being hot right now means nothing.
PGA Championship, golf's second major. We check in on Charlotte next.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. They've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Derek Carr has called it a career after 11 NFL seasons.
I think they knew before the draft that they had to make a move at this point. And by the way, Derek Carr did have a pretty good career. Made as many Pro Bowls as Eli Manning. So based on that, he should go to the Hall of Fame like Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning does have a couple rings at that point, but always wanted to take a shot at Manning, who should not actually be in the Hall of Fame. Shouldn't be questioned an under 500 quarterback for his career. Stop the man.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Round number 2 Friday already underway at the 2025 PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, our second major of this year in golf. Our second round has now started. Some notable round 1 scores were DRS, some of the main storylines from Thursday in Charlotte. Mud balls affecting play. Of course, the PGA of America announcing on Wednesday, despite the tremendous amount of rain early in the week in Charlotte, there would be no lift, clean, and place. This was a major championship after all. Drew the ire of many golfers yesterday, including the mild-mannered Scottie Scheffler, who went off on that decision in his post-round press conference. And because of it, perhaps, a lot of our big names, a lot of our stars in golf got off to a slow start in round number one. If you look at the leaderboard right now, especially near the top, probably some names you don't recognize, or at least some names you haven't seen in a while, like our round one leader, Jonathan Vegas, finishing with 5 birdies in his final 6 holes, including 3 in a row to end. He started on the back, ended on 7, 8, and 9 with those 3 consecutive birds. 7 under par, 64 in round number 1 to be the leader in the clubhouse after the opening 18.
Yeah, like live clean in place, right? Like, I don't understand why they can't do that with extenuating circumstances. We're not telling them, like, we're going to slice a golf ball into the woods, live clean and place it in the woods. Like, it's the fairway. Like, you pipe a drive 350 right down the middle, and you end up with all mud on your golf ball. That's not your fault. That's the course management fault here. So the fact that they can't pick the golf ball up, clean it up, and put it down in the fairway that's already manicured, that doesn't make sense to me. I know the purity of the game, don't touch the golf ball. I get all that. But again, you can't do that in the rough. In the fairway, you should absolutely be allowed to do that. If the situation, a lot of rain, like bad breaks happen in golf all the time. Like, ooh, you hit it behind a tree. It's a shame. Another 2 feet out, you could have a shot. That's your fault because you hit it into the woods. It's not your fault when you hit it into the fairway and mud is on your golf ball. Get out of here with that. But again, Scottie Scheffler angry. You know that cyborg is ready to go on a Friday now with a vengeance here at the PGA Championship. And also, if you look at the odds market, still the favorite now to win it, even though he's 2 under and he's 5 shots back. Be like, that's Scottie. He might have that back by the end of today.
Absolutely so, DRS, because despite having some issues with how the round played out, everybody in that superstar trio, Scottie, Rory, Xander, top 3 players in the world, making a double bogey on the difficult 16th hole yesterday, a lot of them blaming mud for that issue. Scottie still battled back on his back 9, which is the front 9 at Quail Hollow, to finish 2 under par. I'm going to take a little sprinkle on Scottie Scheffler, under 69.5 today, playing in the afternoon, 1:47 p.m. Eastern time, to have a really good Friday, as it's a beautiful Friday in Charlotte and the course continues to dry out. And Donnie, I think what you just summed up right there in terms of the mud ball debate, it might seem asinine, it might seem trivial in a game of golf, but that was Scottie's exact point. We should not be getting punished for bombing a drive down the middle of the fairway. Correct. You talk about golf at its best with the best players in the world. Our reward for hitting a great shot should not, in essence, be a penalty, especially on this track. This isn't links golf, where rain and bad weather is a part of the conversation, not here at Quail Hollow. So completely agree, DRS. The PGA of America has not updated the lift clean in place. I think now just hoping the course has been fully baked out. So Jonathan Vegas, 7 under par, your round 1 leader, but still not the favorite at 18-1. That is Scottie Scheffler at plus 330. Looking at those updated outright odds, Bryson DeChambeau plus 950, now live at 10-1. Second best price, DRS, battled it around yesterday in the afternoon, was even par. I believe has already teed off or is about to tee off. Let me see here for Bryson DeChambeau on this Friday at where things stand. Come on now. Yes, he just teed off and actually birdied his opening hole of the day to get to red figures. Still the second best price and still a golfer everybody was keying in on this week.
Yeah, you take a look, too. You talked about Scottie Scheffler and going under par, just a few strokes say we'll cash a ticket. I like the fact that Jonathan Vegas is a 9:01 tee time. You know what that means for Scottie Scheffler? Let's just say Vegas has a really good round at 2 under. Sure. He's 9 under. Scheffler looks at that and goes, well, I'm 7 back. I can't just say, well, let's par the golf course and play into the weekend. That means he understands the task at hand. I better cut into that lead, which means my -2 better be -5 or better if I want to track down some of these leaders here. So the fact that the leader in round number 1 is teeing off early and Scottie's in the afternoon, he's going to get a good idea of what he needs to do. Because if Vegas comes back and the rest of the field comes back, that could be say, you know what? I don't have to be that aggressive. But I think the case is the opposite here. I think he's got to be aggressive off the gate because he might be 6, 7, 8 shots back by the time he even tees it up today.
Rory needs to go low as well. 3 over in his opening round. Hour 2 next.